Carlos Sainz has pretty much decided where he wants to race in 2025, and it's going to surprise a lot of people. He's choosing a team that's having trouble right now because they don't really understand how to make their car go fast. But here's the thing: Carlos didn't have many good choices left because he said no to Mercedes, and Red Bull decided to keep racing with Perez. So is this move by Carlos the best thing he could do for his career? And more importantly, will we see him winning races more often? The latest rumor going around in Formula One is that Carlos has decided to keep racing with Williams. This is a team that finished 7th place in the big team competition, but they only got points one time in 2024. Lots of people are saying Carlos made a bad choice and that he should have picked Audi instead. Audi is signing up to be a new team that wants to at least be in the middle of the pack. But there's probably a lot of secret stuff happening behind closed doors that we don't know about. First of all, even though Williams hasn't been a middle-of-the-pack team for a long time, the changes in the team have really surprised everyone. In Formula One, with Albon's awesome driving last year, the team showed that they can get points regularly. The biggest problem they had in 2024 was early crashes and not having enough money to buy proper upgrades, and we're still only halfway through the season. What's really obvious is that they need two strong drivers working together. The fact that Albon got 100% of the points in 2024 and Sargent only got 1 point out of the team's 27 points last year shows that this problem can definitely be fixed by adding a driver who knows what they're doing. Carlos has won 3 races in his career, all with Ferrari, and he's really good at racing with lots of experience. But what we can't forget is that starting in 2026, everything will change to focus more on the engine and the battery. This could knock Red Bull off the top really quickly, and since Mercedes has a lot of hope for the 2026 changes, it makes sense that the teams they give engines to will get the good stuff too. The cars will have 40% less downforce, which means everything will depend on how good the driver is and how reliable the engine is, just like in the old days. This could really even out the competition big time. A team with both Carlos and Albon will definitely have the power to put the team back on the map. And we can't forget that Williams finished 10th in the team championship in 2022. So the improvement they made in 2023 got them about $30 million in prize money. The team has already spent that money on new buildings and equipment. James Vowles has talked about this. And the number one problem he pointed out is that their old buildings and equipment are now slowly but surely getting fixed up and made modern. This shows that Carlos might have been shown something that we haven't seen on the racetrack yet. But this isn't even the most exciting thing about Williams. It looks like the team based in Grove is now ready to try to get Adrian Newey to join them and get back to the middle of the pack. Or who knows, maybe even the top teams if the 2026 engine changes are even bigger than we think they'll be. Adrian Newey joining a project team is exactly what he would want to do at this point in his career. He's proven that he doesn't care about money by saying no to the offer that Aston Martin made him. And it seems like the Ferrari talks are slowly fading away, even though he signed a Ferrari flag during the Monaco Grand Prix. All of this shows that if James Vowles is ready to show Adrian a good foundation, show him where the car's problems are, and promise him that the driver pair is perfect for giving feedback about the car, this long-awaited reunion could finally happen. Many people said Adrian's move back in 2005 to go to Red Bull was crazy after being part of McLaren, but look where it got him. That means we shouldn't throw this idea out the window just yet. Still, thinking that Carlos would go from a race-winning team to a project team is pretty wild for the Spanish driver who people thought would replace Perez at Red Bull or even kick Russell out of Mercedes if he joined the Silver Arrows and proved to everyone he's the real deal once the new rules start. Obviously, the latest move that happened in a similar way was what Bottas did, and that shows that if the team doesn't have the right attitude and the right development plan, it could not only hurt how well the driver performs but also hurt his future in the sport. The Finnish driver is also a really strong option for the Williams seat, which means that somehow the Grove-based team has found themselves in the market with some really strong names that are available to be signed, proven race winners and experienced competitors. Audi, while being a very attractive option, still needs to prove themselves in the F1 world. The fact that they hired a German driver, which was their number one priority for entering the 2026 season, shows that Carlos might not have been promised what he desperately wanted: the status of being the leader. Obviously, that's something Carlos has to earn himself and not be given right away. But what Williams is doing here is pretty smart. Albon has never felt worried about losing his seat ever since he got into the Williams car, and even without this pressure, he managed to almost single-handedly take the team to 7th place. His performance would get a lot better if he understands that there's a bigger challenge ahead with Carlos Sainz joining, who will also be used for another goal. Williams has experience to build cars, similar to how Ricciardo helps Racing Bulls. Carlos will also have a really important role when it comes to how the car should look and work on the track. These drivers have something that the young drivers don't: they understand what's wrong with the car when it's not giving the results they want. This is one of the main reasons why Carlos has been considered over Liam Lawson by Williams. No matter what, There's no doubt that the Spanish driver would be bringing a lot of other experienced team members with him if the team starts performing the way it should, which would be his main challenge to complete in 2025 and keep going in 2026. When talking about his future though, Carlos was clear that a decision hasn't been made yet and he will take every second he can now that the market is slowly but surely changing direction every day. Furthermore, Carlos said, "I think everyone depends on everyone in the driver market. Formula One is a circle. I have not made my mind up yet and I don't know where I'm going to be racing next year. I also have not set any deadlines. I can say that it's an important decision at this stage of my career when I have options on the table. I want to take the right one and think about it carefully because I'm about to turn 30 this year and I want to make the next project work and see how it goes. I'm going to give myself as much time as I need." But what Carlos could not have expected is that Alpine and Ocon would break up. And if you're Audi and you're waiting for Carlos's answer for such a long time, eventually you'll lose interest and start putting your attention on other drivers. Now the French driver is one of the main targets to sign with Audi or Haas, which takes up a spot for Carlos who doesn't have a lot of choices available on the table. If he commits to Mercedes, it would be nothing more than 1 year. And Carlos himself was clear in his request that he doesn't want to enter a season not knowing where he'll drive in the next one. This might be another very important factor in his supposed Williams decision. He's signing for a team that's been in the game for quite some time and will use the engine from one of the most experienced providers on the grid. Mercedes, sure, Haas will also use Ferrari equipment, but the way that Haas and Williams work are very different. Haas has the cheapest way of running an F1 team where they don't build anything on their own but instead buy all of the allowed parts, which was the main reason why Steiner left the team. This is not the case with Williams, a team that's hired a lot of experienced staff from Alpine's breakup. But obviously they won't end here, considering the fact that Williams is also rumored to sign Adrian Newey starting in 2025. With all of this in mind, do you think that Carlos has a future with Williams? And more importantly, do you think that he's the right fit for the Grove-based team considering all the efforts they're making to return to the middle of the pack? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now.